I was looking forward to A Haunted House too. I'd recently rewatched the first film, really enjoyed it, couldn't wait for the sequel, and it's not terrible. There is one scene that made me really, really uncomfortable, and I think it was a really bad decision to include it. The rest of it, I don't disagree with any of it. It was fine. We have some strong characters and performances, but it definitely isn't as good as the first film. Haunted House 2 was released in 2014. It's directed by Michael Tiddes, written by Marlon Wayans and Rick Alvarez, and we have a cast including Wayans as Malcolm. And Malcolm, I guess this will be a spoiler for the first film, so if you haven't seen the first film, this is going to spoil it. In this film, Malcolm has left Kisha and he's moved in with Megan, her kids, and even though he's physically moved on, the paranormal aspect has kind of followed him. And I was delighted to see that they're parodying Annabelle with the doll called Abigail. Looks great. Hated what they did with it. And I guess this is a spoiler for something that happens quite early on in the film, but I really, really was uncomfortable with this. It was very awkward, and that's putting it mildly, at the beginning of the film. In fact, I'll leave it till the end, just in case you don't want to know. I'll talk about it in a moment. The narrative is fine. We have this paranormal aspect. They investigate it. The narrative is interesting enough. In terms of the comedy, it wasn't as funny as the first film, but I still really liked Malcolm as a character, and for the most part, I found him to be quite amusing. So we have some good performances. The narrative works well enough, but it's definitely not as good as the first film. And fair enough, sequels rarely are, but it just felt like the quality really wasn't there. I'd say at best this is an okay film, whereas the first film was actually really thoroughly enjoyable. So if you liked the first film, give it a watch. It's probably one you'll enjoy a little bit. If you didn't care for the first film, I'd say this is probably not worth watching, as the quality definitely isn't as good. And I will now mention the one bit that I just absolutely hated. So it is a spoiler, I guess, for something that happens early on. And this is when Malcolm finds the doll, the Abigail doll, which looks great. The doll looks brilliant. And I almost don't want to say this out loud because it's just, I'm so confused as to why they thought this was a good idea. He takes the doll and he has sex with the doll. And I hate it. And maybe this is just me, but when I see a doll, I think of it as a child. Usually dolls, in my opinion at least, are meant to be children. So they're friends of the same age. They're friends of the child who owns them. They're the same age. A child will usually see the doll as the same age as them, unless it's a baby doll, of course. So to me, Abigail is a child. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Maybe I'm alone with that. Maybe other people think that the doll is an adult. But to me, it also looks like a child. I mean, a strange looking child, but a child nevertheless. So I thought that was a really, really, really terrible idea. It wasn't funny. It was disgusting, and I hated it. Maybe if you don't view dolls as children, it obviously might not be as bad. It's still strange, but I thought that was one of the worst decisions of any film that I've ever seen. So it didn't work well. Thankfully, it was early on, and everything after that was not as bad. But that being said, the bar was on the floor by that point, so that's not exactly a strong statement. Either way, absolutely hated it. I think maybe it ruined my enjoyment of the rest of the film because it put me in a really uncomfortable mood. Who knows? Either way, I think it was a terrible decision. The rest of the film, no real bad decisions. It worked well enough. Not as strong as the first film, but if you can overlook the scene with Abigail, then A Haunted House 2 might be worth watching if you liked the first film.